Hey, I'm Pastor Eli, and welcome to another Faith Friday, and also, apparently, welcome to the end of the world. Today, if you're watching this, chances are you've been inside with your family or with your roommates or with whoever for quite a while now. And if there's anything I've learned about being in close confinement with other people for a prolonged period of time, it's that you end up getting on each other's nerves. I want to share with you a story in the Bible that talks about two people who lived together, and one of them kind of got a little bit on the other one's nerves. The story I'm thinking of is in the book of Luke, and it's in chapter 10. It comes at the very end of Luke chapter 10. So Jesus, the Bible says, that Jesus entered a village, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary. Mary was a very popular name at the time, who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to his teaching. But Martha was distracted with much serving, and she went up to him and said, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone?" Imagine that Jesus stops at your house, like in the flesh. You know, he's got all these followers. Everybody follows him everywhere that you go. And he says, "Hey, I'd like to come to your house." And you say, "Yes, please come to my house. I'd love to serve dinner for you guys." And so you go, and I would make sure that my house was spotless, right? I feel like that's a pretty universal value that we all have. When we have someone over important or meaningful to us in our home, we want to present our home as a nice place to be in, a place that we want them to be at. The reaction that Martha has to Jesus being in her home is very normal and very natural. But I can't help but smile at how the Bible author Luke describes how Martha was feeling. Verse 40 in Luke chapter 10 says that Martha was distracted with much serving. The word distracted that's used there is the word periespato. 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 It is a verb which means to be distracted and anxious. So Martha was running around distracted and anxious with all of the cleaning and serving that she was doing. It was much serving. It wasn't just a little bit of serving. She was making sure that everybody had what they needed. At least that's what it makes it sound like right here. And apparently she gets a little bit upset that Mary is just sitting there, not doing anything, but just listening to Jesus when there's so much that needs to get done. "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Tell her then to help me." It was a cultural understanding that the women were going to be the good stewards and the good hostess, and make sure that everybody was taken care of at a house event. And so to her, it was just part of her cultural experience, expectation that her sister, as another woman, was going to help serve. But Jesus breaks down the social barrier, and he says, "Martha, Martha, you are anxious and you're troubled about many things. But one thing is necessary." Right now, there's one thing that you should be anxious about that you're not. Mary has chosen the good portion, which will not be taken away from her. And that's how that story ends. We don't know what happens to Martha. We don't know if Martha just blows that off. But we do know that later on in the life of Jesus, Martha and Mary were both close friends to Jesus Christ. They were very close friends. In fact, it's the same Martha and Mary that we see in the book of John in chapter 11 when Lazarus has passed away. "If you were here, Jesus, my brother would not have died." They had a connection with him. I don't know if this is how their connection started. I don't know if they'd been friends already for a while. But it reminded me that there's really one thing to be anxious about. Jesus doesn't tell Martha that you're anxious about the wrong thing. Let me tell you what you should be anxious about. But instead he says, you're anxious about a lot of things, but there's only one thing that's important. And then he turns and he looks at Mary and he says, Mary has chosen the thing that is good. She's chosen the good portion, and I'm not taking that away from her. I hope that in the season of being trapped with others, that you will remember that there's really one thing that is important, and that is to be at the feet of Jesus. What does that look like? I'll let you decide what that looks like. But for me, for example, it involves studying the Bible, it involves praying, it involves being with my family and reflecting on God. Whatever that looks like for you, whether it's singing or doing some special activities that put your focus on God, I encourage you just to really find yourself at the nearness, at the feet of Jesus. So hopefully that's been encouraging for you. I'm happy that you were able to join me. We'll see you guys again next time. Thank you to my wife, Emily, who really encouraged me to get this video out there. We'll see you again. And in the meantime, I hope that your faith will continue to grow. This has been a Faith Friday, and I'm Pastor Eli.